Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the elusive and, let's be honest, sometimes totally chaotic world of project management. We're going to journey from classic organizational theory all the way to the cutting-edge AI systems of tomorrow. So, if you've ever felt like your projects are constantly running over budget, falling behind schedule, or just completely spinning out of control, well, you're in the right place. We're going to give you the blueprint to fix it. But before we get into the weeds, I have to share this brilliant little story from Nick Jenkins' Project Management Primer. Okay, so a tourist walks into a pet shop and sees a monkey with a 5,000-pound price tag. The shopkeeper says, yeah, that monkey can program in C superfast tight code, 0 bugs. Right next to it, the tourist spots another monkey priced at 10,000 pounds. That one does C++ and Java, the shopkeeper explains. Finally, the tourist sees a third monkey, just sitting all by itself with a staggering price tag of 50,000 pounds. Completely astounded, the tourist asks what on earth this monkey does to justify that kind of money. The shopkeeper sighs and goes, well, I haven't actually seen it do anything, but it says it's a project manager. It's a hilarious punchline, right? But it actually hits the nail on the head. It begs the ultimate question we're tackling today. What exactly does a project manager actually do? So let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for busting some of those common project management myths. We're going to start with the PM monkey, contrast operations versus projects, look at the iron triangle, debunk the mythical man month, unpack quality management, and then finally wrap up with the AI future. All right, section 1, the PM monkey, and what a PM actually does. Really, at its core, it's about having a crystal clear vision and methodically working toward one specific goal. Simply put, if you can't state your aim in a single sentence, you don't actually have a project. Moving on to Section 2, operations versus projects, or as we like to call it, running the business versus changing the business. This is literally the difference between keeping the lights on and building an entirely new lighting system. Now, what's really fascinating about this breakdown from Monday.com's frameworks is how perfectly these two worlds contrast. Operations, those are the ongoing cyclical processes that literally keep your business alive and breathing. Think processing payroll, managing inventory, running customer support. These tasks never truly end, right? You just want to make them smoother and more efficient over time. Projects, on the other hand, are temporary. They're linear. They have a strict start date and a hard end date. Building a new website, moving to a new office, launching a product, that is a project. So ops sustain the business while projects transform it. And let me tell you, confusing the two, that is an absolute recipe for disaster. Which brings us to Section 3, the iron triangle. We're looking at the unbending laws of project physics. Because just like gravity, every project is governed by forces you simply cannot magically bypass, no matter how hard you wish you could. Welcome to the scope triangle. Sometimes people call this the quality triangle. This represents the absolute unbending relationship between time, cost, and quality. Time is your deadline, cost is your budget and your resources, and quality, or scope, is what the project actually does, the features, the fit to purpose, the whole shebang. In the real world, you'll find at least one of these is usually locked in stone by your boss or your client. Now, a rookie manager might view this triangle as a straitjacket, but a masterful project manager? They juggle these three factors like hot potatoes, constantly making active, strategic decisions to balance them out as circumstances inevitably change. Because, look, here's a hard truth you just have to accept. Scope creep, you know that tendency for a project to just continually accumulate new features and requirements? It's inevitable. Stakeholders are always going to want more. So when two of your triangle points are fixed, say you've got a rock-solid deadline and a capped budget, and then scope creeps up, you really only have 3 choices. You can ask for more time, you can add cost by hiring more people, or, as Nick Jenkins brilliantly advises, you can cut non-essential functionality. Basically, you whittle it away as if you were peeling a potato. As long as the core essential requirements remain intact, the project survives. And this perfectly illustrates exactly why we take on these rigid constraints in the first place. Return on investment, or ROI. To justify a project's cost, you've got to prove its value. The primer actually gives us this incredibly quirky but honestly super effective example of building software for marmoset breeders. Yeah, you heard that right, marmosets. So the project manager estimates 6 weeks of work, plus some equipment, which totals $17,500 in costs. By mapping out a target market of, say, 1,000 breeders and charging $50 a pop, they calculate the ongoing benefits over the next couple of years. Through this pretty simple math, they prove the project literally pays for itself in just under 2 years. It's a fantastic encapsulation of how defining your project scope directly ties to measurable real-world business value. All right, on to Section 4, the mythical man month. Let's debunk a really common, honestly catastrophic instinct that managers have and look at why adding people to a late project almost always makes things worse. To set the stage here, academic research highlights a truly staggering statistic. 63% of all information systems projects encounter substantial budget overruns. Let that sink in. 63%. That is massive. Clearly, our default knee-jerk reactions to project delays just aren't working. When a project falls behind, throwing more people at it usually just sets more money on fire. But why is that? Well, let's look at how this builds based on Frederick Brooks' famous concept. Adding people doesn't magically speed things up, it actually bogs them down. Just look at how the communication interfaces explode. If you have 2 people on a team, okay, there is 1 line of communication between them. Simple. Add a 3rd person, now you have 3 lines. But jump up to a team of 6, you don't just have 3 times the communication overhead, you suddenly have 15 separate communication interfaces. It grows exponentially. Every single new person requires training, onboarding, and constant coordination, which directly drains the productivity of your original team members. So think back to our iron triangle. If you can't just throw people at the problem, you're right back to either pushing the deadline or peeling that potato to cut features. Let's shift gears to Section 5, quality management. Because succeeding goes way, way beyond just being on time. Academic insights prove that an on-time project is actually a total failure if it doesn't genuinely meet the customer's real needs. So, the crucial takeaway here is that quality isn't just some final checklist at the end of a project. Based on extensive research, there are actually 8 critical factors to genuine quality management. And notice just how broad these are. It requires top management to actively support the goals. It needs solid workforce management, actually treating your team as innovators, not just cogs in a machine. It demands supplier and customer involvement literally from day one. Quality means producing deliverables that actually solve the problem, integrating cross-functional teams, and building a true culture of continuous improvement. It is a massive organization-wide team effort. Which brings us to our final stop, Section 6, the AI future. How do we actually start bridging ops and projects? Well, modern technology is finally stepping in to stop this brutal resource tug-of-war. Modern unified platforms are now leveraging artificial intelligence to radically change how we work, and it's a real game changer. Instead of blindly pulling a developer off their daily operational duties just to fight a fire on a new project, AI provides predictive capacity planning. It actually looks at past performance and current workloads to automatically recommend who truly has the bandwidth to help. It features automated skills matching, so pairing the exact right person to the right task, and intelligent workload balancing. This ensures that building the new business doesn't completely burn out the team maintaining the current business. It can even identify risks early, flagging potential delays way before a human manager might even spot them. Honestly, it acts like an always-on, highly analytical co-pilot. So we have journeyed all the way from a $50,000 project management monkey doing absolutely nothing to understanding the iron laws of scope, the hidden dangers of adding late manpower, the true nature of quality, and the AI tools of tomorrow. But as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this provocative thought as you look at your own to-do list today. How will you intentionally balance running the business versus changing the business in your own daily work? Are you, right now, confusing a project for an operation? Apply these frameworks, define your scopes, protect your team's bandwidth, and I promise you, you can stop your projects from turning into a chaotic zoo. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to dive into our next topic with you.